Hello developers, and welcome to PHP Developers TV, your home for everything you need to know to be a knowledgeable PHP developer. I'm your host, Scott Keck-Warren. What if I told you PHP has a built-in feature that will reduce the number of bugs in our code? What if I told you it's super simple to introduce into your daily coding routine? Would you be interested in using it? Today on PHP Developers TV, why we should always use type declarations for function parameters and return value. The problem. Let's say we've just written the following function to generate a formatted string indicating the length of another string. When we call this with a string, we get the expected result. Everything is right with the world and we're done for the day. But what if we accidentally send it a boolean? What happens then? Length is 1? That's not what we want to have happen, and we just found a potential bug in our software. As a brief sidebar, you might be wondering why this happened. Because PHP is a loosely typed language, when we pass a boolean to a function that's expecting a string, it automatically type juggles it into a string. In the background, true is stored as an integer 1, so PHP just converts that for us into the string 1 and then finds the length of the single digit. Our example above is simple, so it's not a huge problem and most likely people aren't going to notice it, but what if we're doing a calculation with the length of that string? This is obviously not something we want to have happen, but what is the solution? Type declarations for parameters. Now, what we want to have happen is for PHP to say, hey, I'm looking for a string and not a boolean, but instead it allows us to pass it data we didn't account for in our function. Thankfully, PHP gives us a way not to shoot ourselves in the foot. This is done by adding declare strict types equal 1 at the top of our PHP file, and then specifying the type of the variable we're looking for in our function call. Now, when we run this code, we'll get an error. We've started requiring declare strict types equals 1 and types on all of our parameters on every pull request we review, just because of the potential to catch bugs like this before it causes problems. We also wouldn't have allowed such a sloppy check. What if we want to support both? Let's say there is a case where we might want to support both a string and a boolean type in our function. How would we go about doing this? Before PHP 8.0, our only option was to specify the parameter as a mixed type. A mixed type parameter will take any type, but to work with the variable, we had to have checks to determine what type we're working with. Of course, the downside to this is that we've run into the same problem as before because we can now pass a new type to our function and run into the same problem. To solve this type of problem, PHP 8.0 added union types, which allows us to specify a range of possible types. This is done by listing each of the types that would be safely accepted as a parameter using a pipe symbol to separate them. For example, if we wanted to accept a string or a boolean, we could use string pipe symbol boolean. Now we can change our function to support union types, and when we run this, we'll get the error we expect. Type declarations for return values. Another feature that will help us reduce bugs is to always declare a return type. Again, because PHP is a loosely typed language, we can get a value from a function and then operate it in ways that are unexpected. For example, we might have a function that returns a string, and then we check its string length to see if it's what we expected. In the future, another developer comes along and adds some additional checks. They don't realize what the return value of the function is and modify the function to return a false. It's easy to do this by quickly copying and pasting the same code into multiple locations. When we run our code again, it returns false, and the results might be unexpected. Again, not what we want. To fix this, we can declare the return type when we create the function. Then when we run our code again, we'll get an error instead of the unexpected behavior. In this video, we discussed how to use type declarations for parameters and return values to reduce bugs and make our code easier to read. By declaring these, we can more easily have bugs brought to our attention and act upon them. If you have questions related to the PHP ecosystem you would like us to answer in future videos, please ask them in the comments below and we will add them to our list. Please also leave a comment and click the like button as it helps others find our videos. Thank you, as always, for watching.